to the heart of the dispute that the chairman and the witness seem to be having, which is where would his testimony take place? The chairman is insisting that it be done in a closed-door deposition, whereas the witness is insisting to take up the chairman's original offer to do this in a public hearing. And one of the reasons that the witness continues to push for a public hearing is the Devon Archer closed-door transcribed interview. That is one of only 2 transcripts of, I believe, at least 18 transcribed interviews or depositions that this Republican majority has released. But it gives us really, really good insight into exactly what the chairman and the majority would plan to do with Hunter Biden's closed-door testimony. Let's take, for example, just I think earlier this weekend, Chairman Jordan of the Judiciary Committee, also a member of this committee, said on television that the most powerful evidence of President Biden's wrongdoing is the testimony of Devon Archer. So I wonder what is that testimony that is so powerful? Was it the testimony of Devon Archer when he said that President Biden was never involved in any of Hunter's business ventures? Or was it the testimony that President Biden never received any money from Hunter's business interest? And remember, Devon Archer testified he was Hunter Biden's primary business partner. He was on the board of Burisma with Hunter Biden. So he had firsthand knowledge of all of Hunter Biden's business deals. Now, maybe if it wasn't those, it was the fact that President Biden, according to Devon Archer, never received any bribes from the Ukrainian government. In fact, maybe it was even that he said that President Biden never discussed business with Hunter Biden or Hunter's business associates. It must be that he was focusing on the times when President Biden met or spoke to Hunter Biden's business associates. That clearly has to be what the chairman was talking about. So it must be that when you look at the transcript, what he was referring to is when Devon Archer repeatedly said that they never discussed business, that they only talked about, quote, niceties, including, and this is according to Devon Archer's testimony, how the weather was, and that none of the discussions ever related to business. So the best evidence that these Republicans want to put forward is testimony that completely absolves President Biden from any involvement, association, benefit from, or other interactions with Hunter Biden's business interests. Now, Chairman Comer, you were asked a few weeks ago on CNN what you thought the best evidence was of wrongdoing by President Biden, and you said that the allegations of the bribe from the Burisma founder, should we call it, I guess, the Burisma hoax now? Because unlike with Russia's interference in the 2016 election, which Special Counsel Mueller unequivocally determined was known to the Trump campaign, was welcomed by the Trump campaign, and was used by the Trump campaign. In this case, Vice President Biden's urging Ukraine to fire the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, which was consistent with official U.S. policy. It was consistent with the European Union policy. It was consistent with a bipartisan Senate delegation who urged it as well, was actually bad for Burisma, and therefore it was bad for Hunter Biden. And who should we look to determine whether that is the case? How about Devon Archer, the star witness, who was also on the board of Burisma? Nope. Devon Archer said that it was his understanding that Burisma had Shokin, the Prosecutor General, under control, and that getting rid of him would have been bad for Burisma. And of course it was bad for Burisma, because as soon as Shokin was gone, after he had allowed a British case to lapse, The next prosecutor general came in and did start investigating the founder of Burisma. So it turned out to be exactly correct. This is why Hunter Biden wants to testify in public, is because if you had not released that transcript and we had just relied on the false representations of the majority members of this committee about what Devon Archer said, we would never have known that Devon Archer actually absolves Joe Biden of any involvement of any wrongdoing related to Hunter Biden's business interests. And we would not know that this entire investigation, the public would not know that this entire investigation is a complete sham. And I yield back.
The minority will have 4 minutes. The majority has 10 minutes. I'll go first. I must oppose this amendment, but I have to state something. I want everyone to understand this. A lot has been said about people on this committee running to the press during a deposition or during an interview. During the two main interviews of this impeachment inquiry investigation, the Devon Archer interview and the George Burgess interview, the very first person on this committee to run to the reporters was none other than Dan Goldman. That is a fact. Does anyone want to dispute that right now? I
would like you to identify one thing that I said that was not consistent with the transcript.
You are talking about running to the press and leaking.
Release the Burgess transcript.
You said Hunter Biden didn't want to come because of leaks. You're the leaker. You are the leaker, Mr. Goldman.
You do your check.
You have 4 minutes remaining.
You
this is
give
my
false
time. You're
information.
out of order. You're out of order. I let you sit there and regurgitate your baloney for 6 minutes. I oppose this amendment. This amendment strikes the entire section about why Hunter Biden's testimony is necessary for the committee's legitimate oversight investigation. The amendment discusses a single deposition with Devon Archer and gets rid of all other relevant information as to why his deposition is important. The amendment distorts the reality of how the committee has handled this investigation. Devon Archer has stated publicly that claims made by the Democrats in this amendment are categorically false. Specifically, Devon Archer stated that Democrats' claims that President Biden was not involved in Hunter's businesses in any way was false. Devon Archer said that's categorically false. He said Joe Biden, quote, was aware of Hunter's business. He met with Hunter's business partners. I recommend that all members of this committee oppose this misguided amendment, and I ask to submit to the record Devon Archer's interview where he says one Democratic claim about the Biden business is categorically false, and that was what I just mentioned with respect to Joe's involvement, knowledge in his businesses. Without objection, so ordered. Now the minority party has 4 minutes remaining. Chair recognizes Ms. Stansbury.